I don't really like resolutions. Resolution is a firm decision to do or not do something. The problem is that the motivation for our resolutions can wane over time without direction. So I prefer to focus on goals. Our goals stay the same no matter our motivation level. And if we chop up our goals into achievable tasks, we are often achieving our initial resolution as a side effect. So, what is a goal? A goal is the object of a person's ambition or effort, an aim or desired result. See, you can make the resolution to get better at drawing, but there is so much involved in reaching that. It's vague. You need achievable tasks and a plan to get there, or that resolution will fade over time. So let's take a look at setting goals and how to effectively meet them. I'm going to be talking about creative pursuit goals, but you can apply this to other stuff in life. I use it for finances, planning activities for my kids, hobbies like sewing, pottery, and even working towards downsizing my possessions. So you can really use it for anything. The first thing you want to do is pick your largest goal. That's the one that sounds like a resolution. Mine, for this example, is going to be to get better at drawing. Yours could be to improve my watercolour paintings, to draw people better, to make my work more expressive, to make a body of work, that big overarching thing that you want to work towards. Now, the next two steps might feel a bit redundant, but trust me, think about them, write them down. It will give you a better chance at succeeding at this goal. Why? Why do you want to achieve this goal? Do you find drawing relaxing, so you want to take more time to do it? Do you want to be more proud of the work you're creating? Do you want your artwork to better express yourself or the images inside your head? Are you trying to communicate your ideas better to other people? Are you trying to sell your work? Write down honestly why you want to achieve this goal. Next, I want you to think about your past performance in other tasks related to this goal. What went well? For me, I would say it was completing a few sketchbooks and starting back at basics, the art fundamentals, in a more structured way. I also went to weekly life drawing classes, which I didn't think was possible with a newborn baby. I used my drawing skills to sketch out ideas for what I was going to make in pottery. I also started this YouTube channel to keep myself accountable and motivated to keep going. Now, yours are probably going to be very different from this, but really think about what went well for you. Next, we're going to have to look at what didn't go so well. For me, I would say the biggest part of this were the motivation to practice and create and the time to actually do it. These are the main things for me that got in the way of me actually achieving some of my goals. And I think it's important to have a bit of a deep dive into these things. So what was affecting my time and motivation? One for me was family illnesses. My partner has a kidney transplant, which means he gets sick quite often. And when he's sick, he went into hospital, for example, for a week. So I'm sort of fending for myself and the kids alone. It's quite a lot. So I didn't have a lot of time to draw. In fact, I didn't have any time to draw. Last year, I gave birth and had a newborn child, and children, and particularly a newborn, take up a lot of time. And when you're exhausted, it can be hard finding motivation to start. Another thing for me would be literal sleep deprivation, because 2 children, 2 and under, it's a lot. It's the biggest part of my life right now, and that's okay. It's not always going to take as much time, but I need to be aware that at this point in my life, I do not have a lot of time and motivation all the time. Now it is time to brainstorm your bigger goal. We are going to break it down into smaller steps or tasks and identify those achievable tasks or actions that are going to help you work towards your bigger goal. And if the topic is really large, pick the areas that matter to you most. It can be overwhelming looking at the end goal, so it is much better to break it down into these achievable smaller tasks. So I'm going to take my bigger goal, which is to get better at drawing, and I am going to brainstorm that. I've done that already, so let's put it down. This is the one I have done for the goal of improving my drawing skills. So I've broken it down into a few areas: basics and fundamentals, landscapes, animals, urban sketching, portraiture, perspective, figure drawing, working on the hands and feet, time sketching. Do this for your topic and break it down into as many small steps as you want to, really, but try not to overwhelm yourself. I know that I'm not going to get all of these done this year, so I am just going to pick 3 areas from this brainstorm to work on this year. Those areas are going to be figure drawing, portraiture, and the basics. Now that we have a few smaller topics to work on, I am going to break this down into those actionable tasks. So let's look at figure drawing. I am going to make sure I set time aside to do timed sketches, 2 minutes, 5 minute, 10 minute sketches. I'm going to try and do 20 feet studies. I'm going to try and do 20 hand studies. I'm going to make sure I keep going to my weekly life drawing class. I'm going to try and do something called Figuary this year, which is a figure drawing challenge in February. And I'm also going to spend a lot of time going through the book by Lomas, which is it's sort of something like Drawing the Hands and Head. I'll link it in the description. So this is going to be my focus for figure drawing for the entire year. Let's move on to portraiture. I am going to spend a lot of time looking at different methods of drawing the head. The Bridgman method, the Lomas head method, and the Riley head method are 3 of the biggest ones I'm going to look at. And between these, I'm going to try and identify a way that I like drawing heads, because I really suck at drawing portraits. So that's something I really want to focus on improving this year. And my challenge for portraiture is going to be to do the 100 head challenge. I've already sort of done some already, but I kind of see them as practice heads while I'm exploring some of these. But I'm gonna look at these in a lot more detail. If you'd like to see a video on that, let me know, because that's sort of one of the main things I'm working on at the moment. So for the basics, I'm going to do Inktober next year because I enjoyed it this year. I'm going to try and complete the drawer box lessons 3 to 7. I've already started on lessons 3. The first book I'm going to be using is a book by Alfonso Dunn, who's a YouTuber. Really, really lovely artwork, focusing a lot on pen and ink. And his book, funny enough, is called Pen and Ink Drawing. There's another book that goes with this workbook. I've got it on my Kindle because I try not to get too many big physical copies. And this came with a workbook, so I thought I'm not going to get both. So yeah, this has lots of different just little tasks to do in it. You know, it covers things like shading, hatching, line work, value scales, and gradation. What is wrong with my words today? Texture, different sort of organic shapes. And I mainly got this because I know that this is something I can do when I am not feeling incredibly motivated to think of something to do myself, if that makes sense. That probably sounds really lazy, but you know, sometimes you just don't have that motivation there. I thought this is something easy. I can have it next to the sofa. So if my son's sleeping on my lap, I can just pick it up and work through some exercises without having to think a lot about doing it. So yeah, that's what I'm going to try and finish this book this year. The next book I'm going to be looking at is by 3D Total Publishing, called Art Fundamentals. And I am just going to spend time really reading through this book, trying to incorporate it into some of the artwork that I make this year, looking through all sort of these master studies. A very satisfying slap, wasn't it? Because this covers a little bit of everything: light and shape, colour, composition, depth perception and depth, and anatomy. I don't know why I can't speak today. I'm really tired. So I'm going to really focus on working through this book this year as well. So that's kind of my 2 main books this year, alongside the Low Miss Hands and Head book, which again I have on my Kindle because it's all black and white. So now you've got an idea of some of the activities you can do to help you reach your goal. Break your time up. Good for us, a year can be neatly chopped up into manageable chunks of 3-month periods. So the next step is to lay out our achievable tasks underneath our months as a rough plan of how we're going to go about reaching our goals for the year. So I've got it set out in my 3 monthly chunks: 10th of March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. I've also got this little bit at the bottom here for resources or year-long projects. For example, I will stick my weekly life drawing sessions in there because that's something I plan to do all year long, starting straight from the beginning. I'm going to stick my Low Miss book in there, my Alfonso Dunn book, and my Art Fundamentals book. So I'm going to begin with adding anything that's time specific. So February happens in February, so we'll put that under here. Inktober happens in October, so we're going to put that under here. I may want to add some more to these, I'm not sure, but for now they're going to be my main time specific ones. Now with the 100 head challenge, that's quite a big challenge, so I'm going to just put that there for now, and I've broken that down into smaller goals because that's a lot of heads. So we're going to put 25 heads here, 25 heads here, 25 heads here, and 25 heads here. Similarly, for the drawer box lessons, I've broken them down as well into their individual lessons. So we can have drawer box 1 here, not drawer box 1, drawer box lesson 3, you know what I mean. Drawer box lesson 4 there, drawer box lesson 5 here, drawer box lesson 6 here, and drawer box lesson 7 here. So hopefully I'll be able to get it all done. The only thing I'm thinking is maybe actually this one might be better down here because I've got the February challenge there. So maybe I'll try and do 2 drawer box in that month. But the thing is, this is flexible. This is my plan. I can change it. I can move it around. Obviously, I do this online as well. Not online. I do this digitally as well. So I've got a page on Notion that I have with all of this stuff in. I can just move around, tick off, cross out, whatever. This is just to sort of show you guys because I just have to make every video an arts and craft experiment clearly. But anyway, let's get back into it. So with my hand studies, I think I will wait till this quarter to get into these. And the feet studies, I think I will slip in here in July, August, September, in the summer. Everyone's got their feet out on the beach. Might be a good time to have it. No, I'm joking. I'll do it from reference, not from people at the beach. And then the last thing that I've got here is my different methods of studying the head. Now, this is something that I'm quite into at the moment. So I'm going to stick this straight up here in January, February, March. Hopefully I'll have a good understanding of the Low Miss head by then, and then I can move on to the Riley head, April, May, June, and then the Bridgman head, July, August, September. And then as long as I've got that done, I'm hoping by the end of the year I've figured out a way that I enjoy drawing heads, and I want some hopefully good portraits under my belt with all of this practice. The last thing is these time sketches for figure drawing. And I think this is something that I'm gonna put under year long because I don't know, you guys can even see this. So we just squeeze it in there. This is something that I want to start doing regularly. So in the evening while watching TV, that kind of thing, I want to start doing 2-minute, 5-minute, 10-minute sketches of figures. And do you know what? I might even try and incorporate that into my hands and feet practice as well. So just remember that this is your plan and it is movable. You can do what you like. So this is the next step. Set your months out and start slotting them topics into the months that you want them to go in. I would say try not to cram them all in at the start because it's really tempting to, while you're feeling very motivated, to be like, yeah, I'm going to get all this done. And then it's very disappointing when you don't actually get it done. Just remember, this is your plan. You can change it. If you finish all these, all you have to do is squidge something up if you've got more time to do it. Or if you don't finish it, then just squidge it down and move it down the list. And you know what? It's fine if you actually want to move it to next year as well. You know, this is your plan. No one is marking you on this. This is for you. Now that we have a rough schedule for the year planned out, let's look at where are you going to find this time to do all of this. Back to time. And really, sometimes it can feel like you have to find time. Now, an exercise I find very useful at working out how much time I've got. I don't know if you've ever done this before, but I'm going to show you my week. This is just an example week. There we go. So really simple. You literally just draw out your days of the week and just do like an average week to figure out where your time is. Now, mine's probably a little bit pathetic because I'm a mum of 2. So I basically have a 24/7 job, but I can show you my free time blocks in the week. What I've done here is I've mapped out the sleep and I've added, you know, this period of time around meal times and morning wake up with getting the kids changed, getting myself changed. I'm eating dinner, feeding the boys. So this time is pretty set. I'm never going to have any time in this period. And this sleep period, I mean, this looks really optimistic, but, you know, I wake up at like 2 a.m, 4 a.m, 6 a.m. to feed my baby. So, yeah, this is not solid sleep. I wish it was. Here, you can see that for me, this is all my red. So in this red space, all of this time I have the children, or I'm working. And this is, you know, for the next few months, I'm going to end up probably going back 3 days a week. It's only for 4 hours. You know, that's fine. Baby's breastfed, so I can't be away for longer than 4 hours, but he's only 7 months. So this time is just completely redundant. Specifically, when I talk about finding time, when my son was like, I don't know, 5-6 weeks old, I realised that I needed more time for me. I needed to do something that wasn't just being a mother. So I spoke to my partner and my mum and I said, look, can you have the children for these 2 nights a week so that I can do something for me? So on Wednesdays, I do my pottery. And on Thursdays, most relevant for this video, is I do my weekly life drawing classes. And that is kind of set. I know that I'm always going to have that time available. So that's 2 hours a week to practice my figure drawing. So that's kind of how I found time. The rest of the time that I've got free is basically nap times. Between 2:30 and 5 is when my kids sleep. If one of them's not asleep on me, or I can manage to get them both asleep in the bed, then I have probably about an hour, maybe 2 hours if I'm lucky, of free time that I can use to relax or that I can use to get creative and be drawing or painting. The other time I have in my life is at the end of the day, starting at 9, hopefully they're both asleep by 10 on a good day. So that means I have the hours between 10 and 1 in the morning to be creative as well. This is not ideal. Like, this is just my life. Your life might be so much easier. You might, if you haven't got kids or you're a bit younger and you're at school, you can have all this time in the evening. You're going to have all these extra hours in the day to actually find time to do your art. And one of the things that I think is so important to do is actually look at, you know, how are you spending your time? Are you on your phone when you could be doing something creative instead? Do you binge watch TV series? If you want to do those things, what I find helpful is setting a timer for, say, 30 minutes if you're on your phone, or just saying I'm going to watch 1 episode of something. Or you could use, say, watching an episode of a series as a break between your creative endeavours. I mean, for me, sometimes I've even set it as a reward. So I say to myself, right, I'm going to watch this 1 episode after I've done some sketching. And then after I've done some sketching, I usually don't end up watching the episode because I'm enjoying sketching. So it's a bit of like tricking my own brain into making me get going. But it works for me, so I'm going to stick to it. Once you've identified this free time or how you can make it, whether it's asking someone else for time in your life or trying to cut out screen time or whatever it is in your life where you could slot it in, make sure to set that aside a time for creating. And actually doing this, I kind of shocked myself because I do feel like I have no time with 2 children and work and, you know, activities in the week. I take them to gymnastics and toddler groups and I see my friend and, you know, my weeks are usually jam-packed. So, but actually when I laid it out like this, I was like, no, actually, I could probably get a good 2 hours of nap time to be creative if I was strategic about it. It's time that I didn't think I had. And this is the time as well that I'll be using to make YouTube videos as well. So I'm kind of trying to ram it all into this specific time period. Have a look at your week and figure out if there's any little hidden slots of time. It's also good just to actually be mindful of where your time's going, because I do think we have a lot more time than we realise. It's just identifying how you spend that time. I hope you have found this video helpful. I hope you can use this template as something that will be beneficial in your life. And so I think you should go and get creative now, and thank you for watching. Quickly, just at the end, sorry I haven't made videos in like 2 months, but yeah, my partner's been sick, so I haven't been able to do anything, let alone make a video, but I thought I'd say hi and Happy New Year. And if you have just seen this video, then you may actually like a video I made which uses a similar structure. This is kind of how I do all of my planning. And a lot of this is kind of taken from that actually, because this is all incorporated into my sort of self-taught artist curriculum that I made. And in that video, I show you how to make your own curriculum, which doesn't just span a year. Mine will span, I reckon, 3 years to actually work through my whole curriculum. So if you're interested in that, I will leave a link at the end of this video. Thanks for watching and catch you in the next one.